rolling.
All right. We'll go ahead and open up the annual board meeting for October 15th. Members meeting, excuse me. I actually read it correctly. Annual meeting of the members, Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. And we'll have the prayer right quick, if everybody please bow your head. Lord, we thank you for all that you give us and do for us throughout the year, Lord. As we go through this meeting, watch over us and make us reflect on things for this year and do good for the public, Lord, and continue on throughout this coming year, Lord, that we may serve you in a blessed and honored way. In your name we pray. Amen. Yeah. All right. Stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Sonia, would you give us a roll call, please?
Doug,
Present.
Daniel,
Here.
Brandon,
Here.
Paul,
Here.
Mike,
Here.
me. I'm here.
Alrighty. So, we'd like to welcome everybody here tonight for the annual members meeting. As we go out through this course of the meeting, we'll have reading of the annual minutes, reports from the treasurer, the fire chief, then we'll go into elections, and then have members' business while the elections are being tallied. I believe that's correct. So, okay. So we'll start with reading of the 2023 annual minutes, please.
Okay. I'm gonna read them, but Doug actually wrote them because my granddaughter was being born that night, so I wasn't here. So the meeting was called to order by Daniel at 7:03. Members present were Doug, Daniel, Daryl, Mike, and Brandon. Absent was me. Prayer, Brandon. Daniel listed the expiring board seats and proceeded to take nominations for each. Seat 3, 1 year left, was George Dykes. Paul Quick nominated by Diane Nesbitt, second by Rahani Gay. Seat 6, 4-year term was Mike Fisher. Mike Fisher nominated by Janet Wilson, second by Joe Sharp. Seat 7 was a 4-year, was Daniel Griffin. Then Gary Johnson nominated by Mary Christensen, second by Janet Wilson. Daniel nominated by Doug, and second by Daryl. Nominees were directed to see Catherine Armstrong, I guess that's backwards, to fill out paperwork and confirm eligibility. Actual voting to be held later in the meeting. Minutes from the 2022 annual meeting were read by Doug. Chief's report for 2022 given by Tyler Doyle. 980 total calls, sold 3 apparatus, bought 1 tanker pumper, currently working on a hydrant project with the city. The financial report and proposed 2023-24 budget were presented by Doug. Motion to adopt by Paul and second by Bill Bean. Motion passed unanimously. Catherine Armstrong presented the amendments to the bylaws and articles of incorporation. Motion to add the correct address to the articles of incorporation by Janet Wilson, second by Joe Sharp. It was approved. Motion to correct the voting age in the bylaws to match the state code by Bill Bean, second by Vivian Bean. Approved. Daniel returned to the voting process. Both Paul Quick and Mike Fisher were found to be eligible and to be on the board and automatically awarded their seats due to no one running against them. Motion made by Doug to take a 5-minute recess to prepare for final vote. Second by, anybody remember who that was?
I have to go back and look, I don't know.
We'll go back and look and put it in there. It was a break from 8:03 to 8:13. Since President Daniel Griffin was running for the seat, VP Jones took over this part of the meeting. He shared that due to being a career or paid firefighter with Lakeview, Gary Johnson will not be eligible to run for the board seat per our bylaws. This created much discussion by the members in attendance. Tracy Pearson asked Gary Johnson if he would be resigning to run for the board seat. Gary declined to do that. Janet, I'm guessing Wilson?
Yes.
Wilson, yeah,
Yeah, let me write that in.
and I got Daniel Griffin for the one up above.
This up here?
Yeah, right here, I got Daniel Griffin.
You got that, okay. On that one that's second the motion, Mr. Paul's got Daniel. I'll put that in. Okay, Janet Wilson, made a motion to amend the bylaws to state no more than 2 firefighters may serve on the board, paid or volunteer at the same time. Bill Bean shared that he doesn't see a necessity in the change. Brandon Jones reiterated that on advice of our legal counsel, it is a conflict of interest for anyone who receives compensation from Lakeview Fire District to be on the board of directors. Paul questioned us jumping to a bylaw change in the middle of an election. We should have finished the business at hand before raising this change, especially if the change could not go immediately into place and affect this vote. Second by Diane Nesbitt. By show of hands, the bylaw change was approved by the members present, 13 to 12. The floor was then open to additional nominations for seat number 7. Mary Christensen nominated Diane Nesbitt, but she declined the nomination. Daniel was awarded the seat since he ultimately ran unopposed. Doug made a motion to change the monthly and annual meeting times from 7 to 6. Second by Mary Christensen, but Mary rescinded her second after a plea from Gary Johnson. Second by Darrell Oden. Motion was soundly defeated. Mr. Porter questioned Brandon about why no one on the board told Gary Johnson he would be ineligible. Janet questioned if our firefighters are paid for special events such as parades. The confirmation is that they are not. Motion to adjourn by Martha McFarland, second by Mike Fisher. It was adjourned at 8:34. And we will correct those typos in that. Make sure that what we have on the website is correct.
He's already approved.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I believe those were recorded correctly when we recorded them, or when we approved them in the next
Yeah,
month.
'cause I thought I remember giving Martha the corrections. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I had them wrote down.
Okay. Yeah, cause we approved those minutes in the next meeting.
Well, I'll get with Martha. We'll make sure we get them on there.
Alrighty, go into the treasurer's report.
Okay, on the financial dashboard, it's actually two-sided, so it shows the whole year. For the month of September 2024, we had a total income of $11,437.45. We got a substantially more than from fire recovery than we've gotten in most other months. That's the only thing that pops out in my head. Our total expenses were $22,401.58. Our total income for the year was $341,225.47, and our total expenses for the year were $440,924.96. Actually, back on the bottom of the other page, or our beginning checking account balance was $12,983.45. Our ending balance was $4,018.59. Savings, the beginning was $4,084.13. Ending was $2,084.86. We've voted to transfer $2,000 from savings to checking. And our CD balance currently stands at $80,967.34.
$56,546 in delinquent dues this year.
Year to date, yes. Is that lady in the yellow? She's a bulldog.
Alright. Do we have any idea where we stand on outstanding delinquent dues?
We still probably have about 75.
About 75?
We had less of a percentage that paid this year than paid last year. Last year, we only had a 25% that didn't pay, but this year we had about almost 40.
We had a higher percentage of people delinquent this year.
Guess we need a motion to accept.
Make the motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Paul made a motion to accept as presented. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sonia? All right, all in favor?
Did we do that for my minutes?
No, the
No, we
minutes
didn't.
are already in.
They
They were already done, okay, all right, never mind. Never mind.
So we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed with no? So motion passed. All right, fire chief's report?
No, we didn't do the budget.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
Still gotta do the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Those
Thank you.
still.
My bad, Doug, go ahead.
On this current budget, this like,
That's the one that we're.
that started like a week ago.
No.
That's,
Last year's
okay.
budget.
So
It should say last.
the
year.
column that says amount is the budget for the new year that we are gonna vote on. The current budget is actually the year that ended September 30th. The budgets from year to year are largely the same. I'm just gonna hit we're expecting we bumped business fees up to 20,000 from 13. We bumped hazmat a little bit from 3,000 to 4. We went down a little on surplus funds, and those surplus funds listed are the property sale that should be going through any day now. Looking down to expenses, we went up a little bit on employment expenses. Came down a little bit on hydrants. Insurance went up because insurance went up. Same thing with fuel. We went from 12,000 up to 16. We increased equipment maintenance a little bit. Part of that is we have some stuff that has to be maintained every year and some stuff that's maintained every other. And we're now in the every other year where we have more things that come up for maintenance. We doubled the medical from 3,000 to 6. We bumped payroll from 217 to 230. We did bump up the public safety and relations by 1,000. Utilities, buildings, and grounds, we dropped from 41 to 25. Part of the reason it's so high last year is because some of the projects we did that, of course, we're not doing this year. Volunteer expenses, we dropped from 7 down to 4. And miscellaneous, we dropped from 2,000 to 5. So our total budget for last year was 372,300. In total, it only went up overall up 3,000 to 375,300.
Any questions from the floor?
I was just, I mean, our latest treasure was like a 99,000, almost $100,000 deficit, is that correct?
You mean last year?
Yeah.
Yes, but I believe some of that's gonna come from grant money.
Yeah.
Because the stuff we got grants for is included in the expenditures, that's not included in the income.
For the grants.
But you're correct on the report.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Some of the grants are reimbursement, so we have to pay, which jacks the expenses up, and then we get the money back once we completed the grant.
But also, the money that from selling vehicles was not in the budget, so that's also part of it.
I guess my question is, the grants and stuff that was sold, is that gonna cover the deficit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we're thin right now because of the lack of income, the percentage of us hadn't paid yet, so that hasn't helped anything. But yes, it's fairly close numbers.
Brandon,
Yes, ma'am.
just curiosity, what is public safety and relations?
Are you on the proposed budget or?
Well, I don't.
Okay,
Public
okay.
safety, I'm not-
It is.
I don't know what page you're
Public
on.
safety and relations, that's basically like school relations with the kids, going out and talking with the kids, getting supplies for them, and,
Y'all go to the school.
yes, ma'am. Daycare,
And also, like when we've gone to like Lakeview Day, National Night Out, and we
Yeah.
we give stuff out, that kind of thing.
When we go out to the little fairs that like, they just had one over at the country club the other day, Had the national night out with the police up here at the city hall,
Mhm.
those kind of things. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Well, we already got a motion to approve this, did we?
I don't think we have a motion.
Did we? Okay. So need a motion to approve the proposed budget for next year?
I make the motion that we approve this budget for the next budget year,
Second.
2025.
So,
I
Do
think
the members?
Mr. Paul seconded it.
Yeah, I mean, but them, they are members, so.
Got a motion and got a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. All right. Next, we'll move into the chief's report.
you want monthly or annual first?
Annual.
We had 1,128 calls, 102 of those being in Abernathy. Many hydrant repairs, we had one new hydrant installation, which is at Brenda and Douglas intersection. We've got a lot of new equipment, some of it was grants, some of it was us buying outright, some of it was the city helping out, and some of it was from the county commission. We got Tom Bigby grant for the back deck. We have an AFG grant for the exhaust system downstairs. We had a lot of new personnel come on board. We had 2 complete firefighter 1 and 2, which is recruit school, rookie school, whatever you want to call it. We had one get his EMT license. We've got another one that's through EMT school, just waiting to take national registry.
If I may, I don't know if this is the one that you included, but we have a chief that's in EMT school too.
Medic.
Yeah, I met it, well, you're,
Yeah.
credit where credit is due.
How much longer you got?
Graduate December 14th.
All right. Oh, cross fingers, right? That's the hardest school there is, right there. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Is the exhaust system hooked up and in use now?
It is.
And it's one of those where, if I'm not mistaken, it has to be manually hooked up, or is it a magnetic?
No, it's a, once they get out of the truck, they have to hook it up to the
Okay.
truck,
Yeah.
but they can just pull out and it disconnects
Just
itself.
on
And it don't run constantly or anything like that, so if it's connected to the truck and they turn it on, like if they're waiting on air pressure to build, as soon as it picks up fumes, it automatically kicks on and starts blowing out, and it vents in the back.
that. All righty. Let's see. All right, so we'll move into elections. So first off, we'll have seat 1, it'll be 2024 through 2028. That's the seat I'm currently holding. Then, are we doing all those together, right? Like we did, okay, that's what I'm making sure. Seat 3 is a full term, same term, 24 through 28. That's the seat currently held by Mr. Quick. And then seat 5 is the remaining of the term of 2022 through 2026 that Mr. Oden held. And we'll go ahead and seek nominations for all 3. So seat 1, I'm willing to run again. Is there any other nominations for seat 1?
I'll nominate Brandon Jones to sit for seat 1.
Seat 1, all right. Any other nominations for seat 1? Any other nominations for seat 1? All right. Nominations are closed for seat 1. Seat 3, currently held by Mr. Quick.
Are you interested in remaining on the board, sir?
I nominate Mr. Quick.
All right, Ms. Janet's got nomination.
A
Any other?
second.
And Mary, you seconded, okay. Thank you. And any other nominations for seat 3? Any other nominations for seat 3? All right, seat 3 is closed for nominations. Seat number 5 is next up for the remainder of up to 2026. It's vacated, so we need a nomination for seat 5.
Nominate Angela Bailey,
And how you spell that last name?
B-A-L-A-M.
You got that?
I'll second it.
And what is your name?
Daniel.
Daniel, okay.
All right, well, do we have any other nominations for seat 5? Last call for seat nominations, or excuse me, nominations for seat 5. All right.
Got another work done for real job.
Kelly also wears many, many hats at the city.
Yes, he does.
Many hats.
All righty, so that's all the calls for nominations for seat 5. All right, do we need to validate any of, I guess,
Well, 2 of them are already on the board, so
Yeah.
they should be.
Miss
And I
Angela.
believe you already.
she's already been checked? Okay. All right, then, that's, looks like it's a. Would you like, Ms. Sandra, would you like to say anything right now?
I guess I can speak a little bit about
Sure.
kind
A
of,
little
I
your history.
prepared a speech in case I had competition.
Okay.
But since I know I met some of you last year on the board, but I prepared something because I'm not the best public speaker, so, but it's not too long, so. So just a little bit about me. I'm originally from the community. I was born in McCalla. I purchased my first home in 2022 after moving back from Washington DC. I really love the community and meeting new neighbors and all of you on the board. I even love the area so much that I got married earlier this year at Sea Lake. So definitely invested in the community. But I'm very passionate about and excited for the upcoming growth of Lakeview and supporting our firefighters and first responders. You guys do so much for the community, and it's my hope to help serve some in return. And in addition to being invested personally, I hold my bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C., where I graduated summa cum laude with honors. And my 9-year career has included roles and experience in corporate accounting, fund and joint venture accounting, constructions and operations, as well as financial reporting, internal audit, and contract management. Strategic, technological, and financial initiatives which I've led include multiple implementation projects, which resulted in increased accuracy, efficiencies, and effectiveness over the company's financial reporting. Additionally, during my career, I have increased employee engagement through leading departmental education trainings and mentoring junior accountants. Given all of this experience, I'm glad that I was running unopposed, but I think I can add significant value to the board. So thank you so much.
What was number 3?
Sorry,
What was number 3?
number 3. I can pass it around.
I got
I'm
one
just
question.
teasing.
Yes.
Do you have enough courage to stand up to Zena? If you
I'm
think
one
you're
of
right,
5 children, so
You're right.
definitely.
Children. She calls children.
No, she got her.
Oh,
She's one of.
oh,
I'm
her.
also a
Oh.
manager, so like
You can do it.
I'm in a leadership position currently, so
We won't oppose
I'm not
you.
afraid.
Stand up. If you think you're right,
yeah. No, I definitely do my research first before I challenge,
then
but
you'll be right.
yes, I'm looking
No
forward
matter
to
what they say. You got to.
All right, let's go on with the next
No.
project. I know, that's what I said, let's go on.
She keeps, at least she's pointing at that end.
All
I
righty.
just wanna make sure
So-
she's strong.
Let's see what else we gotta do with that. That's-
ask my brother. He knows.
Do we need to? That we do then, let's say, let's go ahead and meeting. Okay.
Speaking for the board, mostly myself, we welcome your experience and
Thank you.
your resume, and I think you'd be a real asset.
Awesome, appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And Daniel, what was your last name?
Stroop, S-T-R-O-U-P.
Thank you.
I think we got a pretty hefty amount of financial experience on the board now. So, Mr. Quick, you were a financial professional too, weren't you?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't even a professional.
You sound professional, that's what.
I can't balance the checkbook.
He's wearing his Michigan hat, like.
No, that's
immediately.
McCalla.
Is it?
That's a McCalla hat.
Oh. it
My
looks-
grandson plays ball in McCalla. I got him right from there.
I would have thought the same thing.
I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
great school.
Well, I'm sorry, I guess I misremembered that. Well, there's two of us at least.
All right, so we'll go on into the membership business. So we will open the floor for any membership business at this time.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to amend the bylaws to read that in order to qualify as a board member, you must be a property owner in the district. With, property owner, as defined by the, legislative agency legal division, which reads the Alabama property owner's name must be on the deed, or the ETUX, which is legal term for spouse, or ETAL, the legal term for and others.
And that legal agency was from the
The
state.
Alabama Legislative Agency Legal Division.
There is significant issue with that, as there are numerous other ways to have ownership rights and interest in property.
How's that?
You can have spousal rights, which this state has communal spousal property. That is 100% the law. You have single member LLCs, which are not the, not the same as a business, but people who hold a property in a single member LLC for tax reasons. You have life estates that have some ownership interest. You have trusts that have legal interest. There are a lot of ways to hold property and to hold ownership, and
Do you have
Change
this
it.
in writing anywhere?
yeah, there's all over tons of
I
state
mean,
laws.
right
I
now.
mean, no, I do not have a categorical memory or a categorical,
Well, I mean, last month she asked me, when she wasn't gonna be here, to announce that she would be making this, motion, so I thought, and it, it would be nice if we had something in writing instead of all this.
and we did actually, who was it that, had the discussion with, Ms. Williams?
Catherine, I believe.
Catherine.
So let's, first off, Miss Janet made a motion, so we need a second to go into further discussion, I guess. So, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mary, okay, thank you. All right, so we continue discussions. We did reach out to our attorney just to see if, let me find it. You're trying to print it? Okay. Give us just a minute, I'm sorry. If I remember correctly, the state legislative act governs everything on voting. Let me just, I don't wanna misspeak.
The original petition to form the fire district states that you have to be a property owner within the district boundaries. You should have some kind of vested interest here to serve on the board.
Okay.
So to clarify on that point, are you saying that people who own property in any of those numerous other ways do not have a vested interest in the community?
But if you got a rental house out here, you don't really,
Hey, Brandon, if your rental house burns down, is that a bad thing?
I would imagine so, yes.
Well, once again, like I said, single member LLC, life estate, held in trust. These are all, you can live in a house is held in trust. You can live in a house that's held in a single member LLC. You can live in a house that's held.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Here's what the attorney,
And what's your attorney's name again?
Stephanie Weems.
W-E-E-M-S?
Yes, ma'am. All right, so Stephanie wrote that Tuscaloosa Fire District enabling legislation states that members of the board must be qualified elector and a resident of the district. To add, is that the same thing I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay. To add another restriction to the bylaws, in my opinion, would not be allowable and would likely be considered null and void if challenged in a court of law. To add an additional requirement that is not called for by the act could be prejudicial and could prevent potential board members from serving. By adding the restriction, the district could be subject to legal actions by a potential board member. The act itself could, I'll speak in just a minute. The act itself would need to be amended and add this provision, and that's a difficult task. The act she's talking about is the legislative act, not necessarily the bylaws. So that's what she's saying, is we're governed by the legislative act.
And that changing that bylaw would open us up to potential lawsuits and legal action for being prejudicial against some of those other people I spoke to.
Would you
Yeah,
like?
I want a printed copy of it, please.
Can we get one that's not sideways? Might be a little bit easier to read.
So my question
I
on
can
that,
read sideways.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
my question on that said resident, right?
Yeah, let me go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Meaning
A
if you
resident.
rent, you can be on.
You have to be a qualified elector and reside.
Yeah, but I can have a house in two places. I'm
Yes.
a resident of Hale County, and I have a place down there, I still don't have a house here.
But
You have to be a primary
resident.
residence.
Where you
So
live
you
at
have to
here.
get mail here, or?
You
Yeah,
have
it
to
can be your legal primary residence,
Okay.
just like it would be wherever you register to vote.
So just being a property owner here,
No,
you can't serve, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Well, that's some undeveloped property. If you had one undeveloped property, you couldn't serve on this board.
Yeah, if you didn't live here, and if you rented a house next door and you owned a piece of undeveloped property, you could, but you have to live here and be a qualified elector here.
But the attorney, she says this is her opinion, where did she get this opinion from?
Probably from a law case somewhere in the state of Alabama, I would
But she
assume.
couldn't cite the case?
She didn't cite it in this one, no ma'am.
She cited the legislative act.
Was
Well,
our
the
legislature.
legislative act
Well, it's the legislative act of
was-
the
We can
county.
add to it, we just can't take away.
We can't change the legislative act at
I know,
all.
but we can add to it, is what Catherine always says, we just can't take something out of it. She said that.
Yeah.
You can't
You
dis,
have said
but-
it over and over.
you
But-
cannot disenfranchise somebody that is
Hold on.
enfranchised by the act.
The act itself has to be changed by the state legislative act, the state legislation. We can't vote on it as a membership. That act is governed by the state of Alabama.
That's not what Catherine has said about it.
I mean, there's one person in this entire discussion that has an actual law degree and has passed the bar and is
Okay.
passing this practice law in the state.
Whatever. Forget it.
Yeah.
Are you withdrawing your motion?
Yeah, forget it.
I'd like to make a
Okay.
motion for an amendment to the bylaws. This is simply a act of clarification. We've had issues in the past where people have argued back and forth about what exact language was. My motion is that all bylaws changes are ratified at the following monthly meeting, not the one immediately after the members' meeting, but the following meeting after, with this procedure. A bylaw is put forth, or a bylaw change is made motion from the board, or from the floor, seconded and passed. The person who made the motion then goes to the office staff of the district to put in plain English exactly what they want their their bylaw change to have, it is then sent to the attorney to be put in the appropriate legal language to accomplish that goal before being passed into the bylaws.
Oh, I'd like to amend that motion, that all motions put forward, or bylaw changes put forward, be put in writing.
Yes, they'll need to be turned in writing.
Right.
I'll second it as amended.
All right, got a motion on the floor. Do
So
we have?
in other words, you got to have it written down, then we've got to present it to the lawyer first
To make sure that it,
to make sure that before it's voted on.
well, no, before it's actually enacted.
But to present it, it has to be in writing,
Yes.
cause like, what, I'm not talking about.
Not you in
I'm
general.
speaking to the motion he just made.
Does it need a second?
Just got a second already.
Well, who was second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
No, that was your second to his.
Your
We need a
second to my
to
amendment.
Actual amendment.
I need a second to your motion.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
So-
I make the motion as amended. I need a second.
there you
I'll second.
All right, second by Kelly.
go. All right, have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed? Motion passed.
Just for clarification, what that means is there is no bylaw change on the table right now, because if you have one put in, it has to be in writing, so we all understand that. That's what I amended it to. If you're gonna make a motion, a bylaw change, not a motion, I'm sorry, a bylaw change, it has to be prepared and proposed in writing
In
before
advance.
I don't think this is the right form of discussion, because there is a legal
Yeah.
aspect to it, and it needs to be prudent in the decisions that are made. It does need to be made by the attorneys or whomever, you know, or the legislature, who, you know, there's various agencies you gotta send stuff to, so, I agree with that. And if you turn it in 3 months before this meeting, that'll be plenty of time. What do you think? Still who you waiting on, right? Waiting on the AG, you might need about.
Yeah, no kidding. That was, and not that this matters as much, but just so everybody understands the thought process. I'd had this discussion before with a few people, and my original thought was that they needed to be submitted 60 days in advance of the members' meeting, so they could be reviewed before they were voted on. But everyone I spoke to was like, no, let people make their bylaws changes in plain English at the meeting, and have it there in writing, and then if it passes, spend money on an attorney to vet it before that. So at least then you're not paying an attorney to vet something that just gets voted down.
All right, got any other business on the floor?
So could we, change the meeting times to 6 o'clock instead of 7? I need to
You make a
You talking about
motion.
you talking about
Yeah, I make a motion to move
The regular
all
meetings?
meetings to 6 o'clock.
Second.
Got a
I'll let Daniel have
motion
it.
and a second on the floor to change all meetings to 6 p.m. Do we, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Daniel's,
Aye.
no,
Any opposed? All right, motion passed for 6 p.m.
I think.
Are you still gonna be able to make?
Pardon?
Are you still gonna be able to? Is that gonna be a problem for you coming to meetings because you voted no? or
No,
is
I'd
that
just rather be at 7.
Oh,
A little bit late now.
well, I mean,
so since we have one opposed, do I need a number for how many, or just majority or
Majority.
passed?
Yeah,
Majority passed.
I mean, if it was a close vote, I'd say.
Okay.
No, we didn't have a roll call vote, so we're fine.
All right. Any last call for any business on the floor? So we'll close the membership business and we'll go into announcement of board directors election, which we
kind of
we
already have that.
already
So.
know that, so. Do we swear in?
Yeah, Ken? Do we do that?
It says we'll be sworn in during the regular meeting, so I make a motion that we adjourn the members meeting.
Actually, Mr. Earl, did you put your hand up and say something?
I think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
7:40, got a
I guess
motion
a
on the
second.
floor to adjourn. Daniel, second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Give us about